Hey guys, Patrick R with TFB TV, and today I'm taking a look at one of my favorite guns and my first carry gun, the HK USP Compact in 9mm. Now, this has a 13+1 capacity. You can either get it with a little finger plate mags, or you can get it with flush fit mags to make it a little bit easier to conceal. Now, I found that it was a little bit easier to conceal for me than a Glock 19 because it was just a touch shorter, and if I really needed to, I could go ahead and stuff 15 rounds in it with a 40 caliber magazine. Now, it's not recommended, it's not always reliable, but it does kind of work. Now, this isn't my original carry gun. My original carry gun has since gone to live with somebody else because when I was newly married with little money, I sold it to purchase a different firearm and try something else out. Because when you first start shooting, you want to try all of the things and you don't quite know what's going to work. But I quite missed it, and I was lucky enough to come across this one, and I think I paid $500 on an auction site. And it started life out as a left-handed V2 model, and then I swapped the V1 part, which is just this control lever, over to turn it into a right-handed model. Now, V1 means that it can be carried in double action with the safety on, double action with the safety off, or single action with the safety on in a cocked and locked kind of situation. And then you can also decock it safely if you like. Now, the USP series was one of the first guns with the light rail built into it, and my friend over at Ventura Munitions was kind enough to go ahead and hook me up with one of these Universal Tactical Light Mark IIs, and it's an HK marked part made by Insight, and it fits right on there, and has an actual on and off switch as well as the momentary switch right there. So all in all, pretty cool. Let's go ahead and load up some of that Ventura Munitions, which again, thank you guys, check them out, and shoot some steel. I guess that wasn't locked in there so well.
The USP Compact was introduced in 1996, just 2 years after the introduction of the full-size USP. They offered it in 9mm, 40, 45, and 357 SIG, which was unique to the Compact only. Now, they made about 10 different variants of the gun, allowing the user to configure it as they feel was necessary for the task at hand. Now, the USP series was also the first pistol commercially available with an accessory rail built into the frame. Although it's not a standardized rail, sadly, it's proprietary. And you see here the UTL that you have to use. Now, this being a V1, it has the decocker and safety, so you can carry it in single action, double action, either with the safety on or off in either condition. Takedown is quite simple. Line up the tab with the slot in the slide and then pull it through, much like a 1911 or a CZ75. Then just slide off of the frame. Remove the recoil spring, which again is a unique to the Compact unit, and that polymer bushing that you see on the spring lasts about 20,000 rounds. Now I'm pointing to the area that they milled out on the 9mm to lighten the slide enough for it to operate properly. On the 40 caliber versions, that's all filled in with material. Reassembly is quite easy, just like you would any other firearm. Barrel in and the recoil spring. Then put the cross pin in, line up the slot with the hole, and you're good to go. Decock and on safe, magazine in, ready to go ahead and get back on the range.
All right, so what just happened there was my hand was riding up and kind of pressing down on the slide to stop here. So I got a failure to lock back. There's nothing wrong with the mag. It's just that's kind of where my hand falls with the grip that I prefer. That would be one of the reasons that I don't carry this anymore. I hope you guys can see that muzzle flash, because this is that super hot atomic carry ammo, and it is atomic brand, 1,300 feet per second, 124 grain projectile, and it is super, super flashy. At night, I think I might have gone blind there. Anyhow, not terrible, a little hard to keep on target because, frankly, I'm not used to the grip angle. It's kind of reminiscent of a high point, strangely. All right, guys, so that brings us to the end of our range day with the USP Compact in 9mm, because, frankly, it's getting a little dark. Not a terrible handgun when it was introduced back in the mid-90s, but nowadays there are a lot of things out there that kind of trump it as far as, you know, features and capacity and shootability. So, frankly, it is a little bit flippy because we have that big, chunky, heavy slide that was designed for 40. They actually milled out some extra stuff on the inside to allow the use of 9mm in this thing, to make the slide light enough. You also kind of got a kind of cruddy trigger. It's not the best trigger in the world. It's creepy, and I wouldn't say it's gritty. It's just got a lot of creep to it, and the reset's kind of long. Anyhow, when I got it back in 2007, it was a pretty decent handgun because I did everything in my power to not be a Glock shooter when I first got into the sport. It's kind of funny how we come full circle. Anyhow, they run anywhere between $500 up to $800, sometimes into the $900 range, depending on the variant. They come in 40 caliber, 9mm, and 45, as well as 357 SIG if you're one of those ballistics nerds. And you can get it in everything from a light double action to double action only to double action, single action with a safety, with and without a decocker. There's just a ton of variants out there. My only big gripe is that magazine, or the slide release. It really annoys me that I can get a failure to lock back on this thing based on my grip alone. And I have run into it with other guns, and that generally makes me stray away from them. So if you're looking for one of these, check out our friends over at ProxyBid. Like I said, I got mine for about $500 on an auction site. You might be lucky too, because this thing is pretty awesome. Anyhow, see you later. Bye.